Hey, how's it going? Reece here, back with another video. It's Friday, nearly 8 p.m., but I thought, I want to get this free training out before the end of the week. So I thought I'd go ahead and shoot that now, get it done so you can digest this over the weekend, make preparations to take action next week. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the 6 reasons why you aren't booking meetings for your agency. I speak to agency owners literally on a daily basis, and I always come across the same things. So rest assured, this isn't just coming from experience from my own 6-figure agency. It's coming from the fact that I see so many agency owners making these mistakes. I wanted to share them with you right now so you can avoid them in your own agency and start booking more meetings more consistently and start that scaling process. So you can see right now I've blacked out this content. Really, the reason is I want you to just watch it as I speak. We'll go through this together. By the end, you're going to have a bit of a roadmap and really start figuring out why you're not booking meetings already and how you can start doing that. So let's go ahead with the very first thing that I want to speak about here. And what I'm going to do is really start quite obvious and then get a little bit more advanced as we go on. So the first thing here, let's be honest, it's just not sending enough messages. Now, there aren't enough agency owners that are actually doing the math here to figure out how many messages they need to be sending every day. And by the way, messages could be email, it could be cold DM, whatever it is, but they're just not sending enough messages every day. We have to really break down the math, figure out what number of messages we need to be sending, use that metric as a KPI so we know how many messages we need to actually be sending every day. Now, I want to give you a statistic here that's true, tried and tested. You can Google this, fact check it, but really, only 3% of the market is ready to buy at any given moment. And this really means that when we're sending our cold emails, cold DM, whatever it may be, only 3% of those people are going to buy. If you're sending 100 emails, only 3% of those are ready to buy. Just because the 3% are ready to buy doesn't mean they're ready to buy from you. It just means that they're ready to buy whatever the service or offer is that you're offering, right? But if your outreach isn't that great, or if it doesn't really compel to them, that's another problem. The point is, only 3% of the market at any given time is ready to buy, which means that out of 100 emails that you send, only 3 of those people are ready. Whether or not they actually end up buying is a different story. That really comes down to the quality of the outreach and just what you're doing. Some of the other points that we're going to speak on in a moment. But you really just need to do the math here and figure out how many messages you actually need to send daily to reach that KPI. And really just kind of figure out how many meetings you need to have based on how many clients you want to sign a month. Now, I have this conversation with people all the time. Based on the math, it is actually pretty simple to reach 10K as long as you've got good enough or sizable enough retainers. This is the reason that when people are already at 10K, it's so easy to start scaling there. It's because they already know these things. They already know the metrics that they need to send based on how many clients they want to actually be reaching, right? So really, you just kind of have to look here. Is the issue the fact that your emails are just not converting? Or is it just the fact that you're not sending enough to actually book in the meetings and get the clients? So as a quick example here on the math, if you have a 30% conversion rate for your sales call, 10 calls means that you're going to get about 3 clients on average, which is decent, right? Decent. It could be better, but it's decent. So you've got to really figure out here how many emails you actually need to send to get 10 calls. You might work out that what you're sending at the moment isn't enough, and what you're sending at the moment is only going to get you 1 or 2 calls a month. And if that's the case, you need to go ahead and step that up. The best way to do this is really work out what kind of conversion rate you have at the moment when it comes to your sales calls. And from there, reverse engineer it, figure out how many calls you need to be booking, and then start booking the calls. To give an example here, when it comes to like paid advertising, because I know a lot of you run paid advertising services, so you understand this analogy more. But if the CPA for a product that you're selling is like $15, and you're not spending $15 a day, how do you anticipate actually getting any sales? Because you need to spend around $15 to actually get the sale. So you obviously have to spend more, right? Same thing comes to your emails. If it takes you 10 emails, if it takes you 10 calls to get 3 clients, you need to reverse engineer, figure out how many emails you need to be sending on a daily basis, and then make sure that you're actually sending the emails that you need to be sending, right? So that is just some math that you really need to just work out of straight away, straight from the beginning. And that's something that you could do right now. Like, you can just pause the video or just do it after this video. Just figure out, based on your own conversion rate right now, on your sales conversion rate and also your message to meeting conversion rate, and then figure out how many emails or messages, whatever it is, do you need to be sending every day to book in enough meetings that you're hitting the right amount of clients that you want to be signing every month. Okay, so the second thing that we need to be looking at here is your split testing. Now, the second reason that you aren't booking enough meetings for your agency is just the fact that you're probably not split testing or optimizing your outreach enough. Now, this is quite easily the number one reason most agencies are not pulling in meetings from their campaigns. You know, you get so many people come across and they say, hey, email outreach doesn't work, and it's just such a BS excuse. The hard truth, and this is a bit harsh, is just the fact that your emails don't work. And sure, for some niches and industries, emails just aren't the best or most efficient way to get meetings in. But for most industries, for most niches, cold email just works. It just does. And really what we need to be looking at here is, are you constantly testing your sequences? Because we already know cold email works. We know people are literally signing millions and millions of pounds or dollars, whatever your currency is, in deals from cold email all the time. Cold email is like one of the number one things where you could reach a business the size of just a couple of people to having 10, 20, 50,000 employees. Like, you can reach the founders, the CEOs of these businesses at any time, no matter what scale it is of the business. You're going to run into different issues depending on what scale you're approaching. But the point is, the email works. It's just the fact that your current sequence doesn't. So we need to make sure that we're split testing and optimizing our outreach often enough to the fact that we're actually going to be improving the sequences, and from there find the email that works for us. I get all the time people just ask me, hey Reece, can I just have your email script? Like, they don't want anything else. All they want is the script. I tell them, sure, but my script's not going to do anything for you, so I'm not going to give it to you, because if you take my script, it's not going to do anything. If you're not actually split testing or optimizing your outreach, it's not personal, and secondly, you're not going to actually find that number one thing that is going to work for you. Everybody has their own script or a sequence that works well, and you've got to keep split testing, keep optimizing the outreach enough so you actually find that. And I pretty much do a split test every week. Every week or so, I go ahead and I do a split test based on a certain number of how many messages I send. And then I do a split test and I make my improvements from there. But this is literally probably an easy win. It's really the number one thing that you should be focusing on as the owner of the agency when it comes to your outreach, is just split testing and optimizing your outreach. So let's get on to reason number 3. Now, reason number 3 is just quite simply, you're doing the same outreach as everyone else. Now, most people's emails all look the same. It's a hi name, they have a boring first line, they say, hey, here's what we do. Then for a call to action, they say, can we book in a call at some point this week? They say, thanks, bye, and that's it, right? There's no personalization, there's not really anything really going on. Sure, they say the first name, they might mention the business name, or something like that, but that's it. Like, the structure is the same. So what we really need to be doing is just appreciating and understanding that this is the first time they are hearing about you. So with that in mind, it's our job to stand out. Now, you have one chance here with the cold email, so just make it count. Of course, if you send messages to your leads today, there's no reason that you can't follow up with them 2 to 3 months if they don't respond. And in some cases, you can actually just go ahead and send a different sequence and see if that actually catches their attention. But the point is, we're sending the emails right now, and if you're going to burn through the leads, at least temporarily, you want to just give it the best shot. So make sure to make it count. And the way that we do this personally is just use hyper-personalized first lines in the email and just show off some character. Have fun with it. Tell a little bit of a joke here and there, especially with your breakup email as one of the follow-ups. Just show some character. Show them that you're not like everybody else. Show them that you understand what it's like in their position to be receiving a bunch of emails that all look the same. And just show some character. Show some personality, because ultimately, if you have a cold outreach that's like really professional, or in the reverse side, like super laid back and casual, but then you get on the call and it's just completely different to how you are in the emails because you use somebody's script or whatever it may be, or you're just trying to do what you think is going to work, then that's not going to do anything. You need to be you. So show off your character, whoever you are as a person, show that off in the email, and be proud to show that off, and just show it off as much as you can, because nobody can copy that. Nobody can copy you, right? So just make sure that we're actually adding some personality here. And the last thing I want to mention just on this point is just the fact that, and this is a cold-hearted truth, but your first sequence is very unlikely to work. And that's why we keep testing things. So just do what feels right in the beginning. If it doesn't work out, if it goes wrong, that's fine. The only reason that we're doing this is to get feedback. And just this is like a bonus little point here, but don't have an emotional attachment to your sequences, to your emails, whatever it may be. Just throw it out there, see how the market responds. They're either going to love it, they're going to hate it. If they don't like it, take that feedback and go and make the improvements. It's the best thing with sending with like tools such as Limlist is they give you the data. They show you exactly what people are not liking, whether they're not opening the email, not responding, or whatever it may be. So just keep that in mind, that you do need to just personalize the email, make it a little bit you, and just keep it personal to the prospect as well. Now, point number 4 here, and I want to be brutally honest, is just it might be the case that your offer sucks. And remember, the goal of the outreach ultimately is just to book meetings. It's not to get clicks on your website or to get opens or whatever it may be. So focus on the goal. Focus on what you're actually offering them, and you need the offer and the call to action to actually be worth clicking. If you're just saying to them, hey, this is what I do, this is me, you're only focusing on you, they're not going to care. What we need to do is just focus on the transformation that you are offering them. And remember that you are not selling a service here, you're offering a whole transformation, a new self, a new perspective on the way that they are and the way that they're going to live their life. So saying something like, hey, we offer Facebook ads just isn't worth a lot. But if you say, hey, I can help you generate an extra 100,000 pounds or dollars, like I would straight up give you 10K on the spot, even if I didn't have it. Like if a year ago when I was still working at my 9 to 5, if you came to me and said, Reece, I will generate you 100K in the next 6 months or 6 to 12 months or whatever it may be, I would have found a way to get that 10K. Like if there was without a doubt a guarantee that you would make it happen for me, I would have found that money, right? And because the reason that I would have gone and found that money is because it's a transformation. It's a massive transformation for people's lives, right? So the offer itself is the transformation you're making. If you're offering people an extra 100 grand in revenue, make that clear. And if you are, there's no reason that they won't pay you 10K. Right? If they're going to give you 10K and you're basically giving them 100K back, it would be stupid. It's a no-brainer. It's an irresistible offer, right? So it's just a case that probably, and this is quite likely for a lot of people, it's either the fact that the offer itself sucks or just the way that you're presenting it just doesn't work, right? So you have to figure out, is it the offer, is it yourself? Or is it the messaging? Is it the way that you're getting the offer across? Or is it the offer itself? So that is just something else that you need to test. Don't massively change it. Like in the beginning, just change the messaging, try and get that right, and you'll begin to figure it out. Now, number 5, the 5th point that I want to mention here is just quite frankly, you're not utilizing an effective follow-up strategy. Now, if you aren't utilizing follow-ups at all, start today, right? There are a couple different reasons, but genuinely and generally, some business owners will just want to test you and actually see if you're serious working with them. Now, I've been in both positions before. I've harshly and directly followed up with prospects, and I've even had prospects that follow up with me wanting to work with me so much, right? Now, I can say without a doubt that the majority of your deals will come from follow-ups, so make sure that you're following up. Oftentimes, you might just reach somebody at the wrong time. You know, if you happen to send the email on Monday at 6 p.m. and they've got a dance class at Monday at 6 p.m., you know, they're not getting back to you. Or you message them at on Thursday 10 a.m., and at that point, they have a team meeting. So by the time the team meeting's over, they've already received 5 more emails that are exactly the same. It's not working out. And this is why we go ahead, we implement the follow-up strategy. So we're hitting them on different days and different times during the weeks. That way, if they missed your first email, the follow-up's just going to be like, hey, you missed the email, I'm just following up, and then go from there. And on this point as well, when I say the follow-up, I mean follow-up if they don't respond to the initial email, and also following up after the call. I'm going to be honest, I used to have a bit of an ego when it came here, and I didn't like following up after the call, because I felt like I was just kind of begging the sale too much, but that's really, really silly. I know that now, because people get busy, man. People get really, really busy. Like, you'll be on a sales call, and while you're on that sales call, if you're working with a big niche such as e-com, where they're getting pitched literally like 50 times a day sometimes, this is the case. where completely lost what I was going to say. But during the sales call, they might just receive other emails, right? And then they're thinking about yours, but then they're reading another offer that they've just got, and there's so many things that go on. So just follow up with them after the first email if they haven't responded, and then follow up as well after the initial sales call, and just try and book in a follow-up there and then. Now, obviously, when it comes to your follow-ups, just don't spam, be human, go and lead off your desire to work together. Just show them that you're passionate about what you do, show them that you care about them as people, their business, and as an individual company, and that you just really want to work with them as a whole. The sixth and final point that I want to mention here is just the fact that you're not utilizing case studies. Now, I've mentioned this many times before, but in Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers, he mentions that one of the main defining factors on whether or not somebody will actually buy into your offer is the perceived likelihood of success. Now, remember that your email is the first time that they're actually hearing of you in most cases. If it's a cold outreach, it's the first time they're hearing about you. So they have no idea about who you are, what you've accomplished, what you've achieved, what you do really, only the information that you give them. So share with them your past experiences, not just to show that you're experienced, but to actually help them understand what is possible for their own transformation. This will also massively build your credit, your authority and credibility. Now, if you're worrying right now, Reece, I don't have case studies, I'm brand new, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put it like this. There are two ways to get case studies. Number one, you get a media buyer or a fulfillment partner if you're not doing paid advertising, and you get that immediately, right now, and you say to them, hey, can I use your case studies so I can use it for my sales calls? Now, a lot of people do this wrong, right? There's a thing right now where a lot of agencies will go to the media buyers, take their case studies, and then the media buyer will never hear back from them. So in the agency automation program, which is my one-on-one mentorship program, obviously I show you the right way to communicate that with a media buyer. But what I want to just get you thinking about right now is the position of the media buyer when you are actually conducting the interview. Because a lot of the time they're used to getting on these interviews with agencies that sell them the world, but then never actually give them a client. So what I'm going to say is get a media buyer on board, frame it in the way that, that when you get the media buyer on board, you will use their case studies in the sales calls, enhance your sales call, and actually get them as soon as possible. In some cases, I would go as far actually as recommend, like even potentially signing a contract with the media buyer to state that they're part of the business, or in some way actually officially saying they're your media buyer. Because I don't believe in just speaking with a media buyer for their case study. If you don't have a client to give the media buyer right now, I feel like you should publicly announce that you're working with the media buyer in one way or another, or just have another way that it's basically set in stone that as soon as you get a client, you will give that client to the media buyer, because that's the only thing the media buyer cares about. They don't want you stealing their case studies and never speaking to them again, because ultimately the only reason they're giving you the case studies is because they want more work. If you can find a way to actually assure that they will get that work, they will 100% give you that case study and be happy doing so, right? So what I'm going to mention there is just get the case study from your fulfillment partner. If you don't have one yet already, get one. If you need a media buyer and you need help hiring a media buyer, I have a 40-minute free training on hiring media buyer that I'm more than happy to share with you. If you need that, just comment down below or send me a message over on Facebook and I'll help you out with that. Or I'll just send you the link. And that's pretty much it. Now, the other way is, if you don't have a fulfillment partner, if you plan on doing it all yourself, which honestly I don't recommend, but if you do, then what I would say is it's still okay to use other case studies. Just don't say that it's your case study. Just say, hey, this business achieved this by this service, and I would like to help you do the same, or something along those lines. And that's completely fine to use as long as you believe in your ability to actually provide the result and help them out. It's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, this person used this and achieved this, and telling them that they can do some similar things, because ultimately they can. You're all doing the same thing anyway. You're always doing the same thing to get the result. So I think it's completely fair to do that. So that's pretty much it, and that concludes the 6 reasons probably why you're not booking the meetings. And these are like the number one reason. So obviously there are others, but these are just the most common things that I see, especially like kind of the optimizing a lot of agency owners just don't like doing the split testing optimizing. Whereas for me, this is the only thing I do. My outreach is fully automated. The only thing I do myself is actually the optimizing and the split testing. So it's the most important thing, which is why I do it myself. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Now, what I'm going to say, if you do have any follow-up questions right now, if you need any clarity on this a little bit more, or if you're really struggling to book in consistent meetings right now and you need some help with that, what I would urge you to do is just go ahead, send me a message either on Facebook or Instagram. Just kind of, say that you saw this video, say that you're struggling right now with booking your meetings. I could just have a conversation with you, try and bring some clarity on why you might not be booking meetings. Maybe it's one of these reasons, maybe it's something else. And then obviously as well, give you some personalized feedback, support, to help you out there, give you clarity on what you need to be doing so you can start booking in consistent meetings and getting some clients. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was valuable. I really enjoy recording these free training videos. I find it really fun. I know people get a ton of value from it as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, post this on Facebook and probably my YouTube as well, which I don't post on too much, but every now and again when I do a really cool value video like this, I will post it over on YouTube. But for now, Facebook is where I post the majority of my content. So yeah, if you've got any questions, comment down below, and I will see you again in the next one.